been known for your love of working with samples, a legendary remixer, and I'd want to get into sort of how that started, take you back.
When I first got introduced to the studio, I was working at a club in New York, and there was this guy, Bruce Forrest, and he was working, doing remixes for these major labels. And in the DJ booth at the club, so we had 3 turntables, we had samplers, we had keyboards, we had drum machines, and I'm talking about the 80s. So we used to remix records like right on the spot. He introduced me to the studio, invited me to come down to the recording studio, and I was really, I was like, wow, all this gear, all this equipment. And I started by editing. I bought this little 1/4-inch little reel-to-reel, and I started to like make my own, like almost like what we would call mashups today, where I would take 2 records, mix them together, edit them. I would edit my own things, and then I started to edit people's records, because back in the day, you didn't have what is called automation, any digital. Everything was analog. And then one time I asked somebody to let me mix a record, and it became a big record, and it was 1986, 87, and then from there, another record. And then before I knew it, I was the biggest thing on the block, and I was the #1 remixer back in the 80s and the early 90s. And I was mixing 2 to 3 records a week. I lived in the studio. I loved every minute of it. I mean, I slept in the studio. I mean, while my house was my apartment was 20 minutes away, but I didn't care, you know what I mean? I just loved it. If you love your art, you know, it's not about being successful. You love your art, and you do your art because it brings you some sort of serenity to you. You enjoy it. It's your escape.
House music, or dance music, like you like to call it, has it lost its warmth?
Well, of course. I mean, first of all, I mean, years ago, a DJ played the whole night, if not most of the night. Today, you have guys that are playing 1 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. It's bullet, it's BS. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't give time for people to express themselves. The technology, let's go now to the technology, it has cheapened the art. Today, I mean, you know, it's in fashion for people to be a DJ. I mean, you know, Paris Hilton wants to be a DJ. This singer wants to be a DJ. This model wants to be a DJ. You mean, you know, because of the technology, you think, oh, wow, it's cool because, you know, wow, I can make some money. But their heart's not really in it. They're doing it for the show. I mean, it's crowd please. Okay, I can play the hits. And what you asked me, when it comes even to the technology, where it's like every DJ now feels that they need to be a producer. And, you know, you've always had producers and you had DJs, and the two rarely mixed. You had the very few that were actually capable of doing both.
What's left to accomplish when you've done everything that you've done?
Well, I will never stop making music. I mean, I have a new album out now called Changes. On Ocho Nate's on my album, Jonathan Mendelsohn, Royce Murphy, Tamara Keenan, and Paulina. And I'm restarting my label again, so to have an avenue to put on my own stuff, because I'm not happy being an artist on other people's labels, because unless they get who you are, then it doesn't matter. And now with the internet and, you know, with the social media, you can really do it on your own. So I will never stop making music. Playing records, I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And if I can bring world peace, I would do that.